There you go. We are recording. And let me share the screen. I think I. All right. You should be seeing it right now. And let me change my screen into presentation mode. So, this is me. My name is Emilio Garcia. Again, I'm the managing partner at Bountify. We are a demand generation agency. We usually work with B2B companies in the technology or telecommunications space. We primarily work in either demand capturing or demand creation strategies, meaning mostly pay search and pay social and display ads, and we combine that with the ability of HubSpot CRM to work on lead attribution and revenue attribution, so you can have the whole story of how advertising influence revenue generation. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. That's my social media platform of choice. So if you want to connect with me, do so at E Garcia Bass. And I also have a series of live events that we call Demand Gen Studio, where we mostly talked about demand generation. It will be a pleasure to connect. Just get there and subscribe, and you will get notifications when a new episode um, launches. So, what we will cover today? Well, obviously, we will have an introduction of the features. Some of the while the free CMS hub has many many features, I will cover some of the most important ones or the ones that I believe make the most sense for someone that is starting with the tool from the beginning. So we will cover SEO recommendations, right? Things that you can cover on that. We will explore a little bit how the website themes work. We will explore also the integration with the CRM, which is one key feature of the CMS. We will also discuss or talk about the drag and drop editor, which allows you to make those pages very easily. And finally, we will cover reporting. We will also talk about some limitations, or at least things that you cannot do on the free version that obviously are available on the pay one. And finally, we will cover the competitive landscape, meaning how HubSpot CMS compare to other tools like Wix or similar CMSs like WordPress. So, without further ado, let us start right away. So, what we will learn about today? Well, we will learn about the free suite of content management tools that is available for marketers and developers throughout HubSpot. And this is really, really important. I want to make a comment here. As most of you probably have experienced too, HubSpot started as a marketing automation tool primarily. So it was mostly email marketing and some contact management. And eventually they expanded into what is known now as hubs. So we have the sales hub, and on top of the marketing one, eventually they come up with a service hub. And CMS was also built or birthed out of probably the landing page solution. So that would end the blog solution mostly. But eventually it evolved into something greater. And now you can host your whole website there. But for many, many years, that has been something that you have to pay for. So these shift into a free solution with obviously some limitations that allows entrepreneurs and companies that are starting to dip their toes into marketing automation and CRM is incredibly powerful, because you have in one place something that is connected to the rest of the systems, which I believe is really, really good. So I'm really excited for the possibilities and the businesses that I believe HubSpot CMS will enable in the years to come. Now, obviously, you want a website that is beautiful, a website that looks good, but also you need a lot of things around it, not just the pages, right? So on top of the experience that you want to present to the users, there are other things behind it that usually for other website builders, or if you're building a website of your own, you will have to consider, like forms, email cadences that happen after someone fills those forms, live chats and chat bots. You will want to know how your website is contributing to revenue. So you need that analytic portion of it, and much more things. So it's not just the pages, right? And some of the key features and values that the CMS HubSpot brings to the table, and that it does for free because it has built on top of all the other websites that already exist for paying customers, is first, you want a good hosting. Yeah, I remember, and probably some of you will too, when just finding the right host was a bit of a challenge, because you never knew, right, if you were buying the right package in terms of bandwidth and storage and processing power and all that. With these solutions, you don't have to worry about all that. Very similar to what you can get out of other CMSs like Wix or Weebly or similar ones. You don't worry about performance itself, because the system will um, kind of like level up to the level of traffic and performance that you need. You have the content delivery network, which is also now something becoming standard and is quite important, making sure that you deliver the pages to the closest server that a user is in browsing from. And then you have also SSL certificate by default, right? Another thing that, if you remember, or maybe you're still dealing with, if you are using a domain hosting solution, then it's something that usually you have to buy extra, or at least have to set up for your domain. So that's included there. You have web application firewall, which I will not say that I'm super knowledgeable about, but it's another layer of security at the web level, at the application level. That's your HTTPS, rather than just the IP protocol. Maybe I'm butchering here the things, but that's what I understand about it. Uptime, which is quite important, and I can say, from my own experience with HubSpot, we host our website there, that uptime is pretty good. And it's not perfect. So from time to time it fails, from time to time it slows down, but it's not something that is in the back of my head, or that I need to set up an application to make sure that uptime is performing as expected. There's obviously security and threat monitoring, because it happens for all the other websites that HubSpot is hosting. And also pretty cool now in this free version, that you have your custom domains, which is important because you need obviously to either migrate or set up your website for your blog, or for your landing pages, or in this case your whole website. So that www, that blog, or landing page or campaign, whatever subdomains you want to use, you will be able to set them up on the website for free. Now, continuing on, how the system or the hub helps you to build pages efficiently, right? You want to build them, they look good, but also fast. So you have a drag and drop page editor, which has been a great evolution for HubSpot. I remember the time where you have to set up like the template, and then you will go to another section where you will, based on the template, start making changes. It didn't feel that you were, building a PowerPoint presentation. And while complex websites definitely will still need, and I feel that for the foreseeable future, you will need a developer, and you will need dedicated resources to set it up the way that you want. For simple websites, or for companies that are starting, the drag and drop feature is perfect, right? It's just like a PowerPoint presentation, and you just drag from it, and we will see some examples. So very convenient. Obviously, you want mobile optimization, meaning that for your website, the design is mobile first, which is something that, even for me, has been hard. More and more, I need to remind myself that when I look at a website, the version that matters the most is the mobile one, not the desktop one, because most users will see that website from mobile. So that's quite important. Obviously, you have the website pages, and this is one of the first limitations that you have on the first one. So this intended for small websites with no more than 25 pages for website content, right? It will be different for the blog, and we will talk about that. Another cool thing is you have access to the blog, which is not just another website or group of pages. It has its own functionality, so you can set up the listing, the authors, the tags to categorize and organize the content. So all the cool features that you expect from a blog builder like WordPress are present on the free version. You still have access to the design manager that will allow you to get some customization if you want to, and you still are able to import your blog in the case of you having that blog in another tool or platform like WordPress or similar ones. So you can import your blog posts, and that way you don't have to manually bring all of those posts by one, especially if you have a large library already. You have some local development tools, and you are capable of using advanced menus, right? So the meaning of that is not just links, but you can actually have like nested menus, and you can organize them to have some of them sending to a URL and some of them not necessarily. You have some website themes that come for free from HubSpot and other providers. So you have some ability to bring something right away and build a great software, a great website experience. Something that I really appreciate for, especially for a free version of the Hub, is the multi-language content creation. And I think HubSpot has solved that very neatly. You can create web pages that are language agnostic, or you can set them up to say, I have the English version and I have the French or Spanish version. Or even if you want to, you can build something that is specific to a country, right? Like imagine you have Canada and you want to build the English and the French version for it, and it will have the right slugs or codes or the path, so you can create the different pages. It will not translate automatically, but it will have the right meta tags and descriptions, so users are sent to the right version depending on where they are and their preferences, and you will have the option to select the languages right from the menu. So very, very well solved there. Another feature that I don't personally use, but it might be important for some of those that are worried about SEO and ranking better for Google, is build support for AMP, which is a protocol that allows you to remove most of the scripting language from the blogs primarily, so they can load faster and rank better in theory on Google. You also have the asset marketplace, which allows you to, if you want to, bring additional themes that are available for sale. And you have the ability, as we were saying, of using that custom domain, right? The biggest restriction that you will see on all this while being free is that you will have HubSpot branding on all pages, usually at the bottom in the footer, where obviously we'll say this website was built using HubSpot CMS. And if you want to remove that, obviously you have to upgrade to the starter version, which is actually not that expensive. Is $20 per month, I believe. But if you just want to try it out or start simple, you can have all these features for free on the HubSpot CMS. So let us dive a little bit into some of the features right away. So the SEO recommendations, while I believe you don't have access to the SEO tool that have the aggregate recommendations, very similar to what you will have from Lighthouse on Google, it does have per page the main on page recommendations that you need to take care of, right? So making sure that you have the titles, the meta descriptions, the right links, that your images have alt text, that they lazy load for images that are above the fold. All those nice technical recommendations you will have there, a description. You will be able to know the impact, if it's something important or it's not as relevant, why it's important to solve, and even in some cases it comes with recommendations so you can understand how to fix them. And lately they are separating things that can be solved by the developer and things that can be solved by the marketer or the owner, and so you can take action on some of them. So very neat recommendation, and that in order tools, you have to set up a plugin to get those recommendations. Not here. They'll build into the pages, and you can get a nice score to know if you have sold 100% of those, right? Again, as we discussed, you have some pre-built themes that are, based for some use cases like businesses or education and similar things. So you have access to those. Some of them are come from HubSpot, and the rest are built by the ecosystem and the community from the HubSpot ecosystem. And you can also purchase some others if you want to. So you have a big amount of selection there. If nothing matches what you're looking for, you can always, with the help of a developer, build something that has your own design and your own look and feel, and the additional features if you want to. But this is pretty convenient. Um, Obviously, one of the biggest pros of HubSpot CMS is that it's 100% integrated with the CRM platform, meaning all those contacts, companies, deals that are managing, they have visibility with the website. So if someone that is a known contact visit the website, it will become part of their story, and you will have that information available, so you can trigger automations out of that if you wanted to, when they fill forms, when they start a chat conversation, which is also available for free from the platform. Even if you set up a meeting link that allows you to offer a date and time for a conversation, and all that can also be integrated with auto tools for email marketing automation and in general for productivity. So it's a big feature, or something that is really relevant for the CMS. As we were saying, you have that drag and drop editor. And here's just a simple view. As you can see, it behaves like a PowerPoint presentation. You have the standard setup of columns, so you can set it up for mobile and desktop. And each theme comes with predefined modules that already have some functionality and default settings, so you don't have to code anything. So you can add buttons, icons, for example, a card for team members, or a card for testimonials, or if you want to add some social follows, frequently asked questions. All those nice features are usually pre-built on the themes, and obviously with the help of a developer, you can add more or develop more for your end users. So very simple to use. Another big portion is reporting, right? So think of this as the equivalent to Google Analytics, right? So you don't have to set up an extra tool to understand the visitors that you have, the sessions, how many sessions are new, how many of them are coming from mobile. Also, if you set up the forms on HubSpot, you will have lead, and also if you use the CRM, revenue attribution. Very important, right? So we want to know, are the leads that we are getting coming from direct, from organic, from social media efforts, or from any other source? And are they becoming customers, and how much revenue are they bringing? All that information you will have at the fingertips within the dashboard section, which it also works for the rest of the hubs, right? So integrates neatly with the marketing information and statistics for email marketing, for social media. It integrates very well also with the sales information about meetings, calls, deals being created, and even service, right? So, for example, think about tickets and all that. So, the same platform that HubSpot uses for these other hubs is used for the web analytics, and it's included for free on this version of the CMS. So, very helpful. Obviously, you can and should have additional analytics coming from other tools like Google Analytics. But if even if you don't know how to set up that, your HubSpot pages will have that information already from the moment that you launch a website. Now, some of the limitations that it will be helpful to understand, and especially compare it to the next version of the software, which is the CMS Hub Starter, are laid out here. So, for example, you can see that one of the biggest is that HubSpot branding will appear on all pages, blog posts, and landing pages, and it's something that gets removed when you upgrade to the CMS HubSpot Starter, right? There's also some limitation on the number of pages that you can create for website pages. This is not blog pages. You have 25 pages on the free CMS tool, and you can increase that limit to 50 on the HubSpot starter. In both versions, you have the ability to host the website pages, the blog pages, and landing pages on a custom domain like www. I might be mistaken here, but I think it's until Pro, CMS Pro, when you can select a specific subdomains or custom domains for each type of pages. For example, you can have for web pages www, for blog pages blog dot, and for landing pages something like campaign or landing pages or offer, right? And but for the free and the starter version, from what I understand, you can only use one and use subfolders or directories for classification or categorization of the pages. One important limitation that you have on the free CMS tool is that when you use the email tool to send emails to your contacts from your marketing efforts, on the CMS Hub Starter, you are able to add a custom domain for the sending domain. For example, if you say, well, I want to send emails as, in my case, egarcia at bountify.io from HubSpot, you can do that on HubSpot Starter, but you can't on the free MS on the free CMS tool. You will have the ability to send the emails, and it will have your name and it will mention your email, but the sending domain will be HubSpot's, right? And that has to do with branding. And again, it gives you a little bit of more professional look and feel as you grow up. So that's something that might gear you toward the HubSpot starter version. But if that is not important or relevant to you right now, uh, it's not so big of a limitation. Finally, on the blogging portion, you can see here how the difference, right? So free, you have one blog and you can create up to 100 pages or blog posts. You can have up to 20 authors and 50 tags or categories for your blog. And the limitations for HubSpot Starter are quite larger. And finally, I remember this quite well. CMS Pro, you can have more than one blog. I don't remember the upper limit, but definitely more than two or three. Continuing with the limitations, obviously for the free version, your support will come from the community, right? There's a big community of HubSpot users, and so you post your question there, someone will answer for sure. And there's plenty of knowledge-based documents, and obviously you have the academy, which is fantastic resource to get more access to information. But if you want support from HubSpot in the form of email or chat, then you will have to jump into starter. And if you want phone support, then you will have to jump into pro. You will not be able to change your system pages. The most popular one, but it's not the only one, is the 404 page. In HubSpot Starter, you can do, and the ability to display CRM data in your pages, also known as personalization tokens. Imagine you have a page and you want to say something like "Thank you, Emilio," because you already know the visitor's name. You are not able to do that on the free tool, which I don't think is a big problem. You don't have access to URL redirects, and if you don't know what's that's it. Then probably you don't need it. But is the ability, once you unpublish a page or you change the URL, to send all reference of that URL to another or the new version of the page. And finally, for use cases where you already have a website, usually host on WordPress, and you want to bring the look and feel they already have without the hassle of rebuilding and redesigning the website, HubSpot offers a migration service to X amount of pages that is quite helpful. And in that case, it's available on HubSpot Starter, but it's not available in the free version. So those are some of the limitations that you might have there that you want to consider. At the end of the day, I will say you can always simply start with the free version, test the limits, and if there's something really compelling, you just upgrade. So no problem there. Very well. So now some comparisons, right? Obviously, because most of you will have already a website, and you will ask, well, what am I missing, or what are the difference between the HubSpot CMS free tool or even Starter and other popular tools like WordPress and Squarespace and Wix. So I think one of the biggest advantages of HubSpot CMS is the integration with the CRM and the marketing tools, but also that forward looking prospect of growth, right? I tell my prospects and clients all the time that HubSpot CMS should be seen as a tool for companies that want to grow as business because it's built in that sense, right? It has the tools to allow you to start scaling your business. So it's thinking about not just design, which is quite important, but also about the revenue, the lead generation. So when growth is something that is important for your company, I believe there's no better tool than HubSpot CMS to enable that growth through the tools that surround the whole ecosystem, not just the CMS. Now, comparing to other tools like WordPress, probably there the biggest problem that I have seen, and I'm not a big WordPress user, but for clients that we have dive into their implementations, when you don't have a proprietary implementation or the help of a WordPress uh, web shop, the whole plugin ecosystem thing is quite complex, right? Um, Obsolete plugins, plugins that don't work very well in each other, things that you want to do that are not available without a plugin. So I think all that is a problem or an opportunity. And HubSpot solves it very well because it's a system that is not, they say it's not cobbled, right? Or not built in pieces, is built from the scratch. And they keep adding features that are native to the platform. In the case of Wix and Squarespace, I think the biggest comparison is that Wix and Squarespace are thinking more of the use case of e-commerce solutions. And in that sense, just like Shopify, I think HubSpot is still not there. Is it had started and it still is mostly CMS that makes a lot of sense for B2B, and it can solve some e-commerce implementations through the help of e-commerce engine like Shopify, but out of itself it's still not there. It's evolving, and I think eventually will be at parity in terms of features because it has been adding in the last year payment options, and I think that will enable to eventually have a formal card or e-commerce engine to allow to create pages for that implementation. But if you have e-commerce requirements, heavy e-commerce requirements, I believe definitely that something like Squarespace, Wix, or even Shopify will be better options for you down the road. uh, Kind of a compromise that I have seen, people setting up their web pages on HubSpot and just the store portion, just like the blog, keeping it on something like Squarespace, Wix, or Shopify. So things that you can think about as you compare. And always, again, being free, you can always try and do some tests, maybe run a microsite. And if you feel comfortable, then you move into the whole system. Right. So here more comparisons. But again, my main point is that because it's a system built for growth. When you are ready, right? The last phrase that I have here on this presentation, you can upgrade whenever you are ready. You can move into a starter, into pro. You can start growing your marketing tools if you have a marketing team. You can start growing your sales tools if you start bringing a large SDR team or sales team. You can grow your service hub for customer success, or even if you start integrating with auto tools both for your CMS and for the rest of the system. Now you can leverage Operations Hub to do just that, and you will know that from the beginning your CMS will be ready to handle the integrations because the system is working together. So I think that last phrase is the most important one, is the ability to start simple and increase complexity as the business required. Very well. I will pause here and look at the chat to see if there's any questions. It doesn't look like there's any. So with that, I will finish with some action items. What can I do today to take advantage of the CMS? Of course, go and explore the tool. I will show you some examples right now. But go and explore the tool. You have the knowledge articles about CMS Hub. If you are a developer, there is a specific set of lessons in the academy for developers and also best practices. And if you are a final user or a marketer, definitely you can go to the product page and to see the theme collection to explore more. Um, I will share this presentation at the end of the event, and it will be available in the page, so you can um, click on those links. But you can always just go into the system and explore it. I will finalize with a little show of where do you find the tools and some of the look and feel of the system. Let me go and do that. I will share my screen again here. Let me do it. We are sharing our tab, and there you go. Right. So again, just to give you a real feeling of how it works, it will be part of the navigation. As you know, for those of you that already use HubSpot, you don't really have a section. It's more of some of the tools are part of the menu. So most of the CMS tools are around the marketing area, in this case on the website, and is divided between web pages, blog pages, and this is landing pages, right? So this is the view that you will have, that you can see. And when you create a web page, um, you should have already connected your domain. And I'm gonna do a test here, right? And here are the themes. Obviously, I already have some themes, and you can change it, right? And select some of the themes that are already built on HubSpot, like this one. These are free themes that you can preview and see how it will look like, right? You will have a view here, and obviously you can change all that. um, you can see the tablet version, you can see the mobile version, right? And you can see how it's responsive and allows you to change the menu and all those nice features. Imagine that I take one of the themes and I'll use it here. And now you can see that it comes pre-built with some templates, right? For some of the most popular use cases, right? Your homepage, or if you're building a landing page, if you're building a pricing page and similar things. So imagine I select this template here, and this is the look and feel. You can see how it's already, this will be your navigation, and you already have some predefined blocks, but you can add more, right? So if you want to add a bottom, you just drag it, and then you start working on the styles and the alignment, right? And you change the text. Very simple tools, and you can add an icon, and so everything is through menus. The styles are set up already, so you as a user or as a marketer don't have to worry about coding, right? And everything that it comes in this template you can change. Very, very simple. And as we were saying here, in settings you can set up the title, you can set up your meta description, and you can add a feature image if you want to. And here you will put the URL connected to your custom domain. And here is where you select your languages for the page if you want to. And finally, as you were saying, you will have, before you publish and after you publish, you will have your SEO recommendations covering, crawling and indexing, title, mobile friendliness, everything about images, meta descriptions, headers. So simple on-page SEO things, yeah, that you will need to cover, right? You can publish now, publish later, and you have access to a preview, so you can share the page with other stakeholders that are not part of the system. And if for a starter, if you want to see how a particular contact will see the page, if you have built personalization, you will have access to that, right? So very, very simple tool to use. um all righty. Well, I will stop sharing. I just want to say thank you, everyone, Ciara and Marina, for attending the event. And for those of you looking at this later, I hope you have found this helpful, and see you until the next event. Have a great day. Bye bye.